Welcome to Therapy Explained, where we explain, demystify, and destigmatize mental health and mental health treatment. My name is Deniss. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and your very own mental health cheerleader. Inner child healing is directly connected to our relationship with our parents, our childhood, and to intergenerational wound healing as well. Looking back at all the things that have been passed down from generation to generation that are still painful, habits that are not healthy and can be toxic, that have been passed down onto us and that we have kind of experienced and suffered, also means that now we have an opportunity to heal it, undo it, and break some of those patterns. However, this journey can be difficult and it can be lonely. We've talked about inner child healing in the past. If you want to get more familiar with it, check out the video that I'm linking up here. But I want to talk more today about actual things that you can do to continue that inner child healing. It's hard for us to really think of actionable things to do. We get that we have to, or that we would like to, and it would feel good to heal our inner child, but on the day-to-day, it's hard to figure out what that actually looks like. So today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 different activities for inner child healing. Before we jump into it though, I want to talk a little bit about the journey of inner child healing and the process of that for ourselves. The journey of healing our inner child is a difficult one. It means looking back at the ways in which we experienced abandonment, rejection, or abuse as children. It requires grief. It requires us to be able to sit in that grief and learn how to very slowly show up for ourselves. When we were kids, there was no safe adult. No one was speaking up for us or protecting us when we needed it the most. And learning how to be that safe adult is a journey, but that's the key. It's all about learning how we can show up for that part of ourselves. And that can be a very helpful way to think about it. And you'll notice that this is a pattern in some of the activities that we'll be talking about today. It's separating that identity for ourselves, or knowing that those things are different parts of who we are. There is that inner child, that child version of us that experienced those wounds, or probably even continues to do so now. And then there's that grown-up version of ourselves that can pay our bills and go to work and take care of us. And those two are constantly interacting with one another. There are probably also different parts of us as well that are also taking a part in this dynamic. But when we think about it in that way, that we are now that grown up, or we have that opportunity to be that grown up that we never had, practicing that really is the essence of inner child healing. Keeping that in mind, let's go ahead and talk about activities that you can start doing right now for inner child healing. Writing letters. You can write a letter to help you reflect on feelings that you've had in the past and to express feelings that you may continue to carry now. But who do you write these letters to? You can write a letter to the parent that you have now. You can write a letter to the parent that you wish you had had. You can write a letter to your inner child, who you were at the time that that wound was inflicted on you. You can write a letter to the future you, to the past you, to the current you. There are so many different players in this dynamic that you can engage in letter writing to. So what do we do with these letters, and what is the purpose of it? Again, it helps us express our feelings, which we haven't had the opportunity to do probably for a very long time, and definitely not as children. Particularly as people of color, we tend to come from, again, this idea that, or our culture has this idea that, or cultures have this idea that children are to be seen and not heard. You're not really allowed to have opinions or feelings about your life and about what you want or about what's going on, because that can be seen as talking back or being disrespectful. So we've kind of learned to hold our feelings in. if we were socialized as women, then this is another additional layer to not having a voice and not speaking up and not being assertive about our needs, our feelings, or our wants in our life. And so this form of expression to write letters is unfiltered, right? So I encourage you to do that. Write the letter just as how you would like to write it. Everything that you want to say, don't hold back, be mean, be rude if that's what you want to be. Let it out. But these letters are not for people to actually read. It's not for you to give to that parent or that friend or that other person. It really is mostly for you, because that's what the journey is about. It is your healing, and it is so that you have a space to express how you feel. Now, if at some point you would like someone to read that letter, then the more that you process and the more that you express how you feel, then you will probably have a more concise and better written version of what you want to say. When we write things in pure emotion, anger, sadness, resentment, all those things are valid and all of those things are true. But sometimes they're also painted with a broad brush or can get us to make assumptions about the other people's intention or the other person's intention. And that's perfectly okay when we're first trying to express how we feel. But again, the more that we process and the more that we try to understand dynamics and histories and patterns, the better that then we are able to look at what's happened in that situation and then also express what our real needs and feelings are. So if you're going to do the letter writing, I encourage you to find a space both physically and emotionally that you can do that in. Lighting a candle, putting on music, making sure that you dim lights or that it's a bright space, whatever it is that you need, that physical space around you is facilitating that reflection for you or that expression for you can be very helpful. So set the space for yourself, write some of those letters, and I hope that can be a good start for you. Be in dialogue with yourself. Similar to the letter writing, when you're writing a letter to yourself, to your inner child, to your past self, engaging in those parts of you that are in pain and having that dialogue is one other active way in which you can work on your inner child healing. Speak to your inner child throughout the day. When you're having a strong or overwhelming emotion, try not to judge it. The way that you talk to yourself is also the way that you're talking to your inner child. And most likely it's also the way that the grown-ups in your life spoke to you when you were a child. The thing about it is that we tend to take what we've been taught as children and then internalize it. And then without even noticing, we end up continuing to practice these behaviors and patterns that hurt us and do not facilitate that inner child healing. So engage in dialogue with yourself, positive and compassionate dialogue. Try not to judge these emotions or call yourself names like lazy or stupid. Also, I would encourage you to replace any phrases like have to, supposed to, need to, should have with maybe more positive words and strength-based words like I would like to, I get to, it would feel good to, it might be helpful to. Because the other phrases, the first phrases, are more about comparison and expectations. They keep us stuck because they weigh us down, and it is not helpful. But when we give ourselves the opportunity to look at things differently, like I genuinely want to do this, I really think this would be helpful for me to do this, it would feel good to do this, then it is actually more true to what is actually happening. It might actually be more helpful to set some boundaries. I actually really want to sleep in or get more sleep or make sure that I eat. That would make me feel good to eat instead of work through lunch. Then that reinforces this idea of what might actually feel good and would be helpful to do with no expectations and with what you actually want to do. Now, if that sentence feels untrue, I would like to work 10 hours, then that's a sign for you that no, actually, it wouldn't feel good to. I wouldn't actually want to. And it also helps you clear up spaces in which you could use some boundaries. And if you need more help with boundaries, I have a whole video on boundaries, actually so far 2 video series on boundaries, so make sure to check that out. Engage in art and play. What better way to heal our inner child than to allow our inner child to play and engage in art? These forms of expression can help us, one, release emotions in a healthy way that we don't normally allow ourselves to do, but two, when it's hard for us to even name what we feel, this is a nonverbal way to do that, to express what's happening for us. Even in anger, getting a crayon and coloring in red on a big piece of paper, on a white piece of paper, feels good. And yeah, that is art, because when you look at it, you'll see all the scribbles of your emotion shown on that paper. But also play. Play is amazing. Go and jump rope and play, I don't know, with your Play-Doh or color. All these things are so amazing to get in touch with that part of ourselves. If you were a parentified child, then you probably didn't get too much time for art and play. So now is the time. Let yourself do all the things that you wish you had had a chance to do when you were a child, or that you wanted to do but didn't get a chance to, an opportunity to. And if you did, and there's things that you enjoyed as a child, start doing them now. I most recently experienced something that brought me a lot of joy, and I witnessed it. I didn't get to engage in it because I was with another group of friends, but I was at a park with a group of friends, and across the park I noticed that there were a bunch of 20-something-year-old adults playing with water balloons. Now, this is in California, hot summer, and it was just amazing. It brought me so much joy to see all these grown-ups playing with water balloons and screaming and laughing and just having fun. That's what we deserve more of, especially when we're trying to heal our inner child, is to make room for that fun and for that joy. That is also part of healing. Rest. Now, I know this piece is difficult, but allowing yourself to rest is inner child work. We don't really think about it in that way, but rest is crucial to us when we're exhausted emotionally or mentally, but also physically, and making sure that we're getting enough sleep. That's us telling our inner child and our grown-up selves that our feelings are important and that our needs are important. And this is a message that is completely opposite to what we've experienced in the past, that our needs were not important and that we needed to serve the family, or we needed to serve our parents in order to help the family survive in one way or another. And when we practice allowing ourselves to stop, to rest, to enjoy, then we're also healing that part of ourselves. If you feel that you need more support overall in inner child healing and boundaries and navigating family relationships, check out my group practice website. We offer individual and couples therapy for BIPOC adults in California. So if that is you and you're interested, make sure to check us out. If not, I also have at our website some other pages with resources. If you are not in California or you would like other types of resources, you can also go ahead and check those out down below. I know that a lot of the inner child work is easier said than done, but that's the whole point. If it was easy, we would have already done it and healed it. The whole point is that it is a journey, and it is complicated, and it can be difficult and lonely. But I hope that some of these activities will give you some more clarity as to what you can actually do on the day-to-day, more active and engaged activities that you can engage in. All of these activities can also be a source of material for your therapy. If you're going to therapy and you're doing the work and you're wanting to do a little bit extra, these are some things that you can do. And whatever comes up from all of this, you can take with you into therapy and process what's happened for you. One last tip: if any of these things felt very difficult and challenging, even just to think about, that itself is something you can take into therapy. Process that. Why would that be difficult for you? What are the barriers around that? And then you can process that itself in your therapy so that you can get to the point where maybe you can engage in these activities more frequently or just at all. Be patient with yourself. It is truly a journey. Seek support if that's what you need. And thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that it was another piece that was helpful for you.